They thought humans were legends. Then their fleet arrived, ****. The archives of Zordi Collective called them the Eaters of Worlds, a species so vicious they wage war against the cosmos itself. Kaylee's traced the holographic text with a claw, the ancient glyphs flickering under their touch. Humanity, they whispered, the words sour on their tongue. Myths, surely. No creature could be as ruthless as the stories claimed. Across the dim scholar's den, Vera snorted, her 4 eyes glinting with amusement. Still chasing ghosts? She tossed a nutrient cube into her maw, crunching loudly. Next you'll say you found their bones. Kaylee's ignored her, zooming in on the cracked data stick they'd salvaged from the ruins of Carxus Prime. The device predated the Zorati ascendancy by millennia, its encryption stubborn as a black hole. But tonight, the final layer had split open, revealing coordinates. Not to a grave, but to a signal. Vera, Kaylee said slowly, what if they weren't just stories? The room chilled. Even Vera stilled, her jesting grin fading. Legends were one thing. Proof was another. The High Council's chamber echoed with disdain. A child's fantasy, hissed Elder Zir, his carapace rattling. The humans were a fable invented to frighten hatchlings into obedience. Their signal is debris, nothing more. Kaylee's clenched their claws. The transmission repeats in perfect intervals. Debris doesn't call. Enough. The Prime Matriarch raised a talon, silencing the room. We will not waste resources on delusions. Her gaze pinned Kaylee's. Unless you wish to fund this folly yourself. A challenge. A dismissal. Kaylee's bowed, hiding their fury. They'd expected this. But they'd also expected the Seekers, the underground cabal of scientists and ex-soldiers, to be waiting in the shadows. A figure cloaked in scavenged nanoweave approached as Kaylee's left the spire. We'll take you to the coordinates, they rasped. For a price. The ship Whisperer Dawn was a patchwork of stolen tech, its warp drive held together by prayer. Kaylee strapped into the co-pilot's seat, watching Vera argue with the ship's surly mechanic, a hulking Tarkon named Droth. You sure about this? Vera muttered, sliding into the pilot's chair. The Seekers aren't known for honesty. Kaylee's didn't answer. The datastick's final decrypted message played in their mind. Asterisk, if you hear this, you are not alone. Asterisk, warp space swallowed them. The derelict station hung in the void like a corpse. No lights, no energy signatures. Just cold, dead metal etched with markings that matched the Carxus ruins. Human markings. Told you, Vera said, but her voice lacked its usual bravado. Droth activated the airlock, his plasma cutter humming. Stay sharp. Dead things sometimes bite. Inside, the station groaned. Dust swirled in their helmet lights, revealing corridors scarred by weapons fire. Kaylee's pulse hammered. This wasn't a tomb. It was a battlefield. Then the walls moved. Panels slid open, revealing dormant turrets that snapped to life, barrels glowing red. Asterisk run! Asterisk, Droth roared, shoving Kaylee's backward as plasma seared the air. They barely made it to the ship. The Whisper S-engine screamed, lurching away as the station's defenses raged behind them. Breathless, Kaylee's unclenched their fist. In their palm, a data core ripped from a terminal mid-flight. Its screen flickered. A message in jagged Zorati script, translated from some older tongue. Asterisk, they are coming. You are not ready. Asterisk, the core's final image froze. A star map, half the galaxy marked in crimson. And at its edge, a single pulsing dot. Earth. The data core burned in Kaylee's grip. Its warning seared into their mind like a brand. They are coming, but who? The humans? Or something worse? Around them, the Whisper of Dawn-esque crew stood frozen, the weight of the unknown pressing down like a collapsing star. Vera was the first to break the silence. That, she said, jabbing a claw at the core, is a problem for someone else. Droth grunted, already recalibrating the ship's battered thrusters. We don't even know what it is. Kaylee's ignored them, fingers flying over the core's interface. The star map expanded, crimson markers swallowing entire systems. Then a flicker, a signal, faint but deliberate. pulsing from the edge of charted space. "There's an answer out there," Kaylee said, "and we're going to find it." Vera's laugh was sharp enough to cut. "Of course we are." The Seeker's outpost was a hollowed-out asteroid, its docking bay crammed with ships that looked one jump from disintegration. Their leader, a scarred Zordi named Ryzik, listened in silence as Kaylee's played the Corps' message. "You understand what this means," Ryzik said, voice gravelly with something like awe. "No," Vera snapped. "Enlighten us." Ryzik's gaze never left the star map. The humans weren't just real. They were running. A murmur rippled through the room. Kaylee's tightened their grip on the core. "From what?" Before Ryzik could answer, alarm shrieked. The outpost sensors lit up. A ship, massive and unfamiliar, had just dropped out of warp. Not just any ship. Theirs. The vessel dwarfed the asteroid. Its hull sleek and predatory, etched with markings that matched the derelict station. Human markings. That, Droth said slowly, is not debris. The whisper, S-comms crackled to life. A voice, mechanical and cold, echoed through the cockpit. Asterisk, identify. Friend or foe? Asterisk, silence. Then chaos. The Seekers scrambled for weapons. Vera cursed, hands flying over the controls. "Kaylee's." Kaylee stepped forward. "We're friends," they said, the lies smooth as silk. A pause. Then the ship's belly opened, a beam of light lancing toward the whisper. "Oh, Void," Vera breathed. The light swallowed them whole. Consciousness returned in fragments. White walls, the hum of machinery. And the voice, now softer, almost apologetic. Asterisk, apologies for the abrupt transport. Biometrics confirmed. Zordi life signs detected. Query, do you require medical assistance? Asterisk, Kaylee's blinked. They were alive, unharmed, and standing in the belly of a human warship. Vera groaned, clutching her head. "Next time, ask before you kidnap us." The voice ignored her. Asterisk, primary directive activated. You have access-restricted data. You must be briefed. Asterisk, a hologram flared to life. A figure in battle-worn armor, its face obscured by a helmet. Asterisk, I am Aegis, guardian of the Seventh Fleet. You have triggered the failsafe. The Devourers have returned. Asterisk, the hologram shifted, showing a galaxy in flames. Asterisk, and you are not ready. Asterisk, the holographic soldier, Aegis, loomed over them, its armored silhouette casting jagged shadows across the warship's sterile walls. Kaylee's forced himself to stand straight, claws digging into their palms. The Devourers, they repeated, tasting the word. It fit too well. Vera let out a sharp laugh. Of course they're called that. Couldn't just be, what, the annoyers? The mildly inconveniencers. Droth didn't smile. His hand hovered near his plasma cutter, eyes locked on Aegis. You said returned. When were they here before? The hologram flickered. A star map bloomed between them. Galaxies crumpling like paper under an unseen force. 3,000 cycles ago, Aegis said, asterisk they consume. Not worlds. Not flesh. Patterns. Thought. Civilization. They strip it bare, leave only silence. Asterisk. Kaylee's breath caught. The derelict station scars. The warnings. Not a war, an erasure. Then the ship shuddered. Alarm screamed. The hologram dissolved into static as the walls flashed crimson. Breach detected. Aegis intoned. Asterisk, they have followed you. Asterisk. The whisper of dawn was gone. Vera saw it first. Through the observation deck, the jagged remains of their ship spun lazily in the void, sliced clean through by something impossible. A shadow moved against the stars, vast and shapeless, drinking the light around it. Move! Droth snarled. They ran. The warship's corridors twisted like a living thing. Hatches sealing behind them as Aegis guided them deeper into its heart. The Seventh Fleet was built to fight them, it said. Asterisk. But we were never enough. Asterisk. Kaylee's mind raced. You hid. Waited. For what? The answer came in a sound, a deep, resonant hum vibrating through the ship's bones. The shadow outside rippled, recoiling as light flared beyond the viewports. Not one ship. Hundreds. Human vessels, sleek and lethal, tore into reality like knives. Their hulls bore the same markings as a derelict station, the same as Aegis's armor. Vera bared her teeth. Took them long enough. The battle was beyond comprehension. Beams of plasma carved through the dark, meeting the Devourer's formless mass, and for the first time, hurting it. Aegis stood rigid, its holographic fists clenched. Asterisk directive fulfilled. The fleet has awakened. Asterisk. Kaylee's pressed against the viewport, heart hammering. But why now? Why us? You carried the signal, Aegis said simply. Asterisk, the last human transmission. A call to arms, buried until someone was brave enough to dig. Asterisk. Droth made a low noise. So we're what? Bait. The hologram turned its helmeted gaze toward him. Asterisk. No. You are the proof. Asterisk. Outside, the human ships moved as one, driving the Devourer back. But the victory felt hollow. Aegis's voice dropped, almost weary. Asterisk. This is not a war. It is a holding action. They will return. Stronger. Asterisk. Silence. Then, a new light on the console. A transmission, echoing from the heart of the fleet. Not a machine's voice. A human's. Asterisk. Prepare them. Asterisk. The human voice hung in the air like a blade unsheathed. Asterisk. Prepare them. Asterisk. Kaylee's felt the words vibrate in their bones. Prepare us for what? Aegis remained silent for 3 heartbeats, too long for a machine. Then the walls hissed open, revealing a chamber beyond. Cold light spilled out, illuminating rows of stasis pods, their glass frosted with age. Inside each one, a shadowed figure. Vera took a step back. Oh, you got to be joking. Drotha's hand found his plasma cutter again. Humans, he muttered. Not extinct. Just sleeping. Aegis moved toward the pods. Asterisk, the 7th Fleet's final weapon. Survivors of the First War. They have waited. Asterisk. Kaylee's breath fogged the nearest pod. The figure inside was gaunt, their skin pale as moon rock, their face sharp with the same brutal cunning the legends described. Then, the eyes opened. The human's name was Elias Vault. He said this like it should mean something, his voice rough with disuse. He also said, "You're smaller than I expected," while looking down at Kaylee's, which was frankly insulting. Vera, ever helpful, bared her teeth. "And you're uglier than we expected." Elias laughed, a sound like a gunshot. Fair. The human warship hummed around them, alive in ways it hadn't been before. Aegis stood at attention, its hologram flickering near Elias's shoulder as he paced, stretching limbs that hadn't moved in millennia. Kaylee's watched the way his fingers twitched, like they were remembering how to hold a weapon. "You triggered the beacon," Elias said. "Not a question." Kaylee's nodded. "We didn't know what it was." "Neither did we." Elias stopped pacing. "The Devourers hunt patterns. Ideas. Civilizations. We thought if we erased ourselves, became myths, they'd pass us by." His smile was all edges. Guess that didn't work. Outside, the last echoes of battle faded. The Devourer's shadow had retreated, but the stars where it fled still looked wrong. Elias followed Kaylee's gaze. "They'll be back," he said. "And next time they'll bring the storm." The human ship's mess hall was too bright, the air thick with the scent of something Elias called coffee. Kaylee sipped at the bitter liquid and tried not to gag. "You get used to it," Elias said. "I'd rather not." Another laugh, then quieter. "You're the first new faces I've seen in 3,000 years. Kaylee studied him, the way his hands curled around his cup, the scars along his knuckles. Not a legend, just a soldier. "What now?" Elias drained his coffee. "Now we wake the rest." Aegis flickered. Asterisk. The fleet is ready, but we cannot fight this war alone. Asterisk. Vera, slumped in her chair, groaned. "Let me guess. You need us." Elias's grin was all teeth, smart and pretty. Droth stood abruptly. "We're not soldiers." "No," Elias agreed, "but you're loud. And right now, that's what matters." He leaned forward. The devourers hunt silence. So we make noise. We remind the galaxy how to fight. Kaylee's looked at their crew, at Vera's sharp grin, Drotha's clenched fists, then at Elias, who was watching like they were already heroes. The data stick's warning echoed in their mind. You are not ready. Kaylee straightened. Teach us. They thought humans were legends. Then their fleet arrived. The cryo chamber hissed open, releasing a plume of frozen air that curled like a dying breath. Inside, the second human stirred, a woman this time, her dark skin etched with faded combat tattoos. Elias leaned against the pod's rim, grinning. Morning, Rhea. You're late. Rhea's first act upon waking was to punch him in the shoulder. You always wake me last, you bastard. Her second was to freeze, eyes locking onto Kaylee's. Oh, we're recruiting now. Vera snorted. More like conscripting. Rhea stepped out, rolling her stiff neck. Same difference. Kaylee's watched the exchange, claws tapping against their thigh. Eliza called Rhea's Lancer. Whatever that meant, but the way she moved like a blade barely sheathed made it clear this was no ordinary soldier. Aegis materialized beside them. Asterisk, the devourers had withdrawn to the Crixus belt. They will regroup there. Asterisk, Rhea stretched, her tattoos shimmering under the ship's lights. Then let's go ruin their day. The war room was a chaos of holograms and half-finished plans. Elias traced a line to the star map, his finger leaving a trail of crimson light. They'll hit the Zorati homeworld first. It's the loudest signal in this quadrant. Droth crosses arms. The High Council won't listen. They still think humans are fairy tales. Good. Rhea smirked. Surprises are more fun. Kaylee studied the map. The Devourer's path was a creeping stain, swallowing systems whole. We can't just warn them. We need to show them. Elias's grin was sharp. Exactly. Aegis pulsed. Astra's proposal. Broadcast the Battle of Carxus Prime. Let them see the enemy. Asterisk. Silence. Then Vera barked a laugh. You want to air ancient war footage like some kind of horror flick? Rhea shrugged. Work for us. The Zorati homeworld was a jewel of spires and light, untouched by war for 1,000 cycles. The human fleet dropped out of warp above it, a swarm of steel and fire. Panic erupted. Defense grids flared to life. The High Council's voice boomed across every channel. Asterisk, identify yourselves. Asterisk, Elias opened the comm. Hey there, remember those stories about the monsters under your bed? He leaned in. We're the ones who put them there. Then Aegis played the recording. Carxus Prime, 3,000 years ago. Human ships burning. The Devourer, a shapeless, ravenous nothing, unspooling across the battlefield, swallowing screams and metal alike. The transmission ended with a single human officer's final words. Asterisk, if you're seeing this, run. Asterisk, the silence that followed was thicker than warp space. Then from the council, asterisk, what do you need? Asterisk, Rhea cracked her knuckles. Oh, we're just getting started.